If truth can be one of the first casualties of war, this is a time, especially against an administration that has been caught lying a lot and uses propaganda, has been caught putting up false statements, videos, even at times misleading AI. We want to make sure we touch on that dynamic, the truth and Donald Trump's long history of lies and deceit, in addition to the other war reporting we're doing tonight. President Trump attacking Iran is the opposite of what he claimed he would do. And while some people might say, well, these images are, of course, war, and here we are, and let's move into it, the American public has a right to understand about why we are waging the opposite of what Donald Trump claimed his foreign policy would be in the most recent election where he was elected and promised no forever wars. His campaign promises were against exactly this kind of war of choice in a complex region where America doesn't have an urgent U.S. interest. One report noting that no president in the modern era has ordered more military strikes against as many different countries as Trump. That's in this term alone. Did you know that? Axios noting, as we get into this Iran war, that Trump authorized more individual airstrikes last year than Biden did in 4 years. I want to show you tonight, Trump has now bombed 7 countries in over a year. Iran, Nigeria, Venezuela, of course, where, like Iran, we were a part of an effort that removed the leader, Iraq, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. I'm going to leave this up on the screen for a moment. What you are looking at is unilateral, unbridled American war power under Donald Trump without the Congress. Whether any of these become his so-called forever wars is a matter of risk, something not in our control, because once you start taking out leaders and bombing different places, all sorts of things can happen. This is just in the beginning of the second term alone. The normally MAGA-friendly Wall Street Journal notes Trump spent years denouncing U.S. intervention. Now he's toppling foreign leaders.
I will tell you, you're not going to have a war with me, and you're not going to have a third world war with me. I will also restore peace through strength, and I will prevent World War III from happening. These globalists want to squander all of America's strength, blood, and treasure, chasing monsters and phantoms overseas. Our current strategy of nation building and regime change is a proven absolute failure. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
False. He is starting wars, risking wars, because there are some countries like Venezuela that are in a position where they may or may not fight back. And he said regime change is the goal. He just urged the Iranian people to rise up and change their regime this weekend. Americans are now dying in this war. There are some who might say, oh, it seems quaint to hold a politician or this politician to his words, but that is exactly what we do. And sooner or later in American history, we have seen even powerful, at one time popular presidents, and this one isn't, we've seen people in those positions have it all burn up over the exact thing Donald Trump is doing, thinking that because we have the power and we have the nukes, we can, quote, get away with anything. Indeed, George W. Bush and LBJ found that what started with wide support ended with a kind of ignominy in history for their war failures. It is early days. We are seeing some objections on the right.
It's bad. You know, it's really bad. I was promised that this wouldn't turn into a larger regional conflict. It's hard to believe it. It's hard to believe that at this point.
It's like, why do we do this? Like, why are we helping?
I'm not happy about the whole thing. I don't think this was in America's interest.
He was the No More Endless Wars candidate in 2016 and 2024, particularly, and this looks like an open betrayal of the base.
We're back with foreign policy veteran David Rothkopf. Your thoughts on this hypocrisy?
Well, you've summed it up right. It's not no more wars. It's more wars than anyone else. He has launched attacks on 7 different countries, 8 if you count the troops he's deployed in the United States. That's more countries than he's actually solved wars in. He claims he's the peacemaker president, but he's clearly not. It's the opposite of that. And several of these wars are ongoing at the same time right now. He can't say he's against endless wars because from day one, practically, of entering this administration, he has been fighting wars. This administration thus far has been an endless war. And of course, it's alienating his base. But I would say to the base, stand by, because, you know, for all the reasons that were described by your previous guests in the show, this is an incoherent war undertaken not by choice, but by impulse. And we don't know what's going to happen next. What if the war means prices are going to go up? What if the war means markets will be unstable? What if the war triggers terrorism around the world? What if the war means troops on the ground? What if the war means alienating more of our allies? There are a lot of ways that what we've seen in the past couple of days and throughout the past year could turn real bad for average Americans. And so that's when, you know, the anger or the brewing discontent that you talked about gets turned up a lot of notches. And of course, it's an election year.
How does the U.S. factor this in? Because you want to have maximum runway and leverage without a congressional authorization and public approval. That becomes a real world problem, even if Trump would like to wish it away as an autocrat. There are those today speaking out calling this, quote, disgusting and evil. That's not a AOC. That's a quote from longtime Fox host Tucker Carlson.
Well, it's not often that I come on your show and agree with Tucker Carlson, but, you know, it is disgusting and it is evil. And indeed, it's illegal. It's contrary to the Constitution. There was no imminent threat. It's contrary to the interests of the American people. It's contrary to the interests of our allies. There are already hundreds of civilians who are dead. Many of our friends in the region are hunkering down and in trouble. It is clearly a war that was fought in defense not of the United States, but perhaps of Bibi Netanyahu. And as far as disgusting goes, look, you know the movie Wag the Dog from 1997, a movie that talks about, a fictional president choosing to have a war to distract from domestic problems. I think a lot of people think, and I think for good reason, that Trump is trying to change the subject with this war away from Epstein, away from plummeting poll ratings. And, you know, changing the subject is one thing. Changing the subject by upsetting the entire Middle East, putting world peace at risk, putting hundreds of lives at risk. We're already, I believe 6 members of our military are already dead as a consequence. That is disgusting.
Welcome back. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel for the latest updates. Just click the subscribe button right there to stay informed.